The January 26th meeting of the Transportation Committee now comes to order. Madam Clerk, could you please call roll?
Mr. Burra? Here. Mr. Cassetti? Here. Chairman Colby?
Here.
Mr. Daniele? Here. Mr. Gambo? Here. Mr. Howland? Here. Mr. Lee? Here. Mr. Monero? Here. Mr. Rocco? Here.
Thank you. I would like to welcome our new member to our committee, Mr. Burra. Unfortunately, you'll find this committee is kind of laid back, so hang on to your pants. Here we go. Is anyone signed up for public forum?
There is not.
Is anybody present who would like to address this committee at this time? Seeing none, the next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. You have the January 5th minutes of the Transportation Committee before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. Next item is new business. Madam Clerk.
Referral 11-21.
Moved by Mr. Cassetti, second by, who wants to second it? Mr. Rocco. Any question? Yes.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, to the administration. What is the anticipated timeline for this project?
Through the chair, Scott Leathersich with the Monroe County Department of Transportation. We plan to have the construction started in spring of 2012.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Monroe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, Mr. Chair, I'm just wondering if there are any anticipated future plans for the stretches that are not included. This seems to cover pretty much almost the entirety of East Ridge Road. So I'm wondering about the, the west end that's in the city of Rochester and the further east end in the town of Arundecoit. That seems to be probably 15 to 20% of the overall road itself.
Through the chair, the east end from Culver Road over to 590 area, we did perform a mill and resurface of that last season, so that has been completed already and has been designed to coordinate with this particular project. The west end, as you mentioned, from approximately Seneca Avenue over to St. Paul, is a city of Rochester street and therefore not the jurisdiction of Monroe County.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
11-22.
Moved by Mr. You screwed me up. Mr. Cassetti, second by Mr. Rocco again. Any questions?
Just through the chair. What is the anticipated timeline of this project?
Yeah, the construction schedule is to have this start in the fall of 2011, and it will be completed before the end of the year.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Second, or opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item.
Referral 11-23.
Moved by Mr. Daniele, seconded by Mr. Rocco. Mr. Daniele.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And through you, I'm familiar with this project because I know we've been dealing with it with some of the neighbors in that area in Stone Road, especially in Pittsford, and I want to extend my appreciation to the administration and your department for being very responsive. I think we were able to work through some of the concerns of the residents along that stretch, and I think ultimately both the residents in Henrietta and in Pittsford will end up being happy with the outcome. My question on this referral specifically deals with the additional $432,000, and I guess it's not crystal clear to me in the referral what additional work would be done, or whether it just mitigates the county share of the project.
Through the chair, since we last came to this body for this project, asking for amending the program for $1.1 million of ERA funding, we were notified by State Department of Transportation that an additional 432 became available. It does exactly what you suggested. It mitigates the cost that we would put towards the project. So our outlay from the county dollar is less by using the federal money.
Thank you.
Was that federal money or state money? You said both.
Well, through the chair, to the chair, it's federal money, but the State Department of Transportation administers the federal money on behalf of the federal government.
Mr. Morales.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm wondering why we need to increase the bonded debt authorized for this, given that we've gotten the increased funding.
Through the chair, that is to take advantage of the increase in federal dollars. We have to pay the value of the project up front, and we get reimbursed by the state with the federal money.
Continue, yes.
Yes.
So through you, Mr. Chair, essentially what you're saying is we have to borrow the money because we haven't gotten the money. That's how I'm reading your response.
Through the chair, I'm not a finance person, so I'm going to answer this based on my knowledge. I don't believe we will actually be borrowing the money. What we're asking for is borrowing power or financing authority. So the dollar value can match the contracts. Because of the reimbursement program, we can make expenditures up front, and then we get reimbursed along the way from the federal government. So in net, we will not be borrowing the entire capital fund. We'll only be borrowing for what the county share would be, the local share.
Which, through you, Mr. Chair, is the balance minus that $442,000, essentially?
Correct. Well, in the total project terms, minus the $1.532 million.
Okay, thank you.
I would just like to endorse Legislator Daniele's remarks about the extra work that the DOT put into this project. I walked along Stone Road with a number of your representatives, and they were on a Saturday, no less, and they were very, very helpful.
Through the chair, that's appreciated. Thank you.
Mr. Morales.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I promise this is my last question. Just another basic. Through you, Mr. Chair. What's the timeline of the project?
This one's going very soon. Yeah, through the chair, this project's going to be we'll start construction in the spring of this year and should be completed by the end of the year.
Thank you.
Seeing no more questions, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Are there any other matters to become before this committee? Seeing none, the January 26th meeting of the Transportation Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Transportation Committee is scheduled for February the 16th at 5:30. Thank you.